So I was challenged to make a top 10 players that were on the Bills during the drought. No playoffs, best players. Let's see if I can make a top 10 list and not disappoint. Stay tuned. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Rico back at it again, ready to break you with a new video, a fun video. I was challenged by a Twitter follower. Shout out to my guy Peter Thiel at Petesky00. And he challenged me to make a top 10 list of the best players that were on this Bills team during our drought. Man, was I ever challenged, because I left some names off this list that a lot of you guys are going to be like, yo, how could you forget about this guy? How could you forget about that guy? But just remember, this is my list, damn it. This is my list. And I had fun doing this. And I hope that you guys have fun watching this video. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Top 10 Buffalo Bills players during the 17-year drought. Starting off with number 10. Punter Brian Morman. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, what? You went with a punter? I went with a punter. Brian Morman is a beloved Bills player, two-time Pro Bowler, very well known for his hang time with his punts, and a punter that could take off on you if he wants to. So don't play games, because if you keep your back to Brian Morman, he's taking off. And he learned his lesson, and we all saw it on national TV when he got blowed up. That's my impression of Emmitt Smith. He got blowed up by Sean Taylor. Badow. He felt that. Got back up like a G and walked back to the sideline. But Brian Morman was a pillar, one of the best punters the Bills have ever seen. And how could you leave him off the list? Never made the playoffs, never tasted the playoffs, but you gotta have Brian Morman on the list. So my guy, Brian Morman, number 10. Let's go to number 9. Terrance Mcgee. Now, I wavered back and forth, and I was like, do I put Terrance Mcgee on this list? Was he even the best corner? But it wasn't just about his abilities to play corner. He was a special teams ace, and I guess he was given props for it by making the Pro Bowl one time during his career. 10 years in the game, 1 Pro Bowl in 2004, 17 career interceptions, and 5 kick return touchdowns. Getting a kick return touchdown is hard enough, but getting 3 of them in your Pro Bowl year is impressive. And I always loved Terrance Mcgee. I don't know what about Terrance Mcgee that I like so much, but I always had hope that when he had that ball in his hands on a kick return, he was taking it back to the house. Now, could he have been honorable mention? Yes, but I'm biased. I've always been a fan of Terrance Mcgee. So Terrance Mcgee is my number 9 best player from the drought, the Buffalo Bills drought. Moving on to number 8. This one is near and dear to my heart, because I actually thought this player could have been a Bills player for a very long time. After leaving the Bills, became a Pro Bowler multiple times. This is middle linebacker London Fletcher. 5'9", 230, 240, almost solid. A great middle linebacker. Came from St. Louis. Did 4 to 5 years with the Bills. Was just a solid leader. Now, career-wise, 730 tackles, 14.5 sacks career-wise. Dude, he was a 4-time Pro Bowler after he left the Bills. Could you imagine if we left him on the Bills? But that was in the era where we had an owner that didn't want to pay. So when you don't want to pay, you got to let these guys walk. So we let London Fletcher walk. I think that he could have been something special if he stayed with the Bills. I think we let him go too soon. But London Fletcher is my number 8 drought player for the Bills. How you guys feel about the list so far? Because am I pissing you off already? Am I making you guys upset? Or if you guys are with me so far, show me that like. Smash that like button and let's keep going. Number 7 on the list. We're going to the offensive side of the ball. This is Lee Evans. Lee Evans is the number 7 player on the list. Now, Lee Evans was a special one. It was a saying, if I'm even, I'm leaving. So if there was a cornerback that was side by side with Lee Evans, there's no way you're staying with him, because he's gone. He's gone for 6. He had his best year in 2006. Quarterback, J.P. Lossman. So 82 catches, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, and averaged 15 yards a catch. Lee Evans, man, if he was able to run a few more crisp routes other than the deep ball, he could have been something that could have stayed with the Bills. But we were just not a good team between the 2000s and the 2010s, man, we just weren't good, and we ended up letting him walk, and he went to the Baltimore Ravens. I think he played a year, maybe two, and that was the end of his career. But Lee Evans was definitely a staple with the Bills. Career-wise, 375 receptions, just shy of 6,000 yards receiving, with 43 career touchdowns. So you got to give props to my guy Lee Evans. I was excited when he came to the Bills, man. We had a deep threat, but it just wasn't sustainable. We just couldn't keep it going. So that's my number 7th player on the list, Lee Evans. So the number 6 player on the list is not a sexy one. It's not one that you'd say, ooh, that guy. It's not. But this individual was a staple in the Bills community, still is a staple in the Bills community, still is around, and a well-respected former Bills player, and that's center/guard Eric Wood. Eric Wood from Louisville is my number 6 player on the list. Here's the thing, guys. 9 years with the Bills. Career cut short due to a neck injury, which is sad because he could have kept playing for another 3 to 4 or 5 years, potentially. Best year, 2015. First-time Pro Bowler, right? 1,075 snaps, 2 holding calls, 1 false start. That's it. That's how he made it to the Pro Bowl. Not making any mistakes, and that's what you need when you have a guy making the calls at the line, being the pillar in the offensive line room. So Eric Wood is my number 6 drought player from the Bills. We're now at the halfway mark, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Fitzpatrick, number 5. I can't leave him off this list. Let's put it that way. Ryan Fitzpatrick was he was a spark, man. I mean, if you look at the quarterbacks that we had on this team, Trent Edwards, Kelly Holcomb, just bum after bum. Like we just Alex Van Pelt, for crying out loud. Like, dude, we needed something that was going to give us a spark. And even with Fitzpatrick, he wasn't anything special, but at the time he gave us a spark. Him tagged along with Chan Gailey, with CJ Spiller, Stevie Johnson. They gave us a little something to be hopeful for. And we got bamboozled a little bit. We got bamboozled because we gave this guy a major deal. I think he what $59 million. Yikes. So and it didn't quite work out. Now here's the deal though. When Ryan was with us, 11,654 yards, 80 touchdowns total, 60% completion percentage was his career with the Bills. I'm not even going to touch on the amount of interceptions my man threw because it wasn't pretty. But nonetheless, 822 yards, tag that along with the amount of yards he's rushed for. So a lot of people want to not give him props for how athletic he is. He is under the radar athletic. So Ryan Fitzpatrick gave us a bit of a spark. The Amish rifle was someone that we got excited for. And he's still someone that, if I were to tell you that he's available as a backup quarterback right this second, and we could swap him with Barkley, I know a whole bunch of you guys would be like, yes, bring him to the Bills. I will take him. So my number 5 player on this list is Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'll take it. I hope you guys are mad at the list. The list must go on. There's a few players that I feel that is deserving on this list, so we're going to move on to the next one. Number 4 on this list, defensive side of the ball. It is Aaron Showboat. Yes, Aaron Showboat, the 2-time Pro Bowler, 14.5 sacks in 1 year. Dude was a menace. He was a star coming out of the league, drafted in the 2nd round. I mean, with the likes of LaDainian Tomlinson in the draft. I mean, come on, man. There's a lot of guys that came from TCU, but Aaron Showboat was one of them and was a wrecking ball. Now, he is 2nd all-time on the sack list. Bruce Smith, the almighty Bruce Smith, is number 1. Aaron Showboat, number 2. So you got to put some respect on Aaron Showboat's name, and that's why he's made it to my number 4. 14 sacks in 2006, 78 sacks altogether. I think he is well deserving of being on this list at the number 4 drought player of the Buffalo Bills. Now, we've made it to the last 3. We've got 3 more players on this list. I hope that I make you guys proud with this list. I also have a list of the honorable mentions, but I've got to keep it moving. Number 3 on this list, Marion Williams. Yes, I went with Marion Williams. Marion Williams, 3 back-to-back, 3 years straight where he had 10 sacks or more. 10 sacks his first year when he came here, 10.5 sacks. Then he jumped up to 13 sacks. And then the following year, he matched it and did better with 14 sacks. Dude, he finished his career with the Bills with 53 sacks. 53 sacks, man. So I was at awe with Marion Williams when he came. I remember when I was on, I think it was NFL Pro Football Talk, I was refreshing that page every single day, every single hour, every minute. I was sitting there refreshing to see what we were doing. They took him out to lunch, they took him out to dinner, and I was like, please let us sign this guy, because nobody wants to come to Buffalo. And then we signed him. I was thrilled. So Marion Williams was a menace. 6'6", 260, 270. Actually, he was a little heavier than that, I have to say, but he was a problem. He lived in the backfield in Miami. He lived in the backfield against New England. He lived in the backfield against the Jets. He was just a menace. It was just a shame that we never got a chance to bring him on as a rook. If we were that, I mean, geez, man, could you imagine Marion Williams as a rookie on our team? Man, oh man. But that, my friend, is our number 3 player on the list. I think he's one of the biggest free agents that we've signed in the last 30 years. So I cannot leave Marion Williams off this list. It would have been nice to have him on the team to make the playoffs, but we just never did. But number 3 on the list is Marion Williams. Here we go. The last 2. This is my favorite player of all time on the Bills. No question about it, and I'm not gonna waste time. Stevie Johnson. That is my guy, Stevie Johnson. I even have his jersey hanging up on my wall right over here. But Stevie Johnson is my number 2 player on this list, man. Back to back 1,000-yard seasons. We haven't had that in such a long time from another receiver, right? So 3 years consecutive of having that, you can't go wrong with that. So Stevie Johnson, 6 years with the Bills, no Pro Bowls, 300 yards receptions, 3,800 yards, and 28 touchdowns and 13 yards a catch. So that is my guy, Stevie Johnson. His breakout year came in 2010. Right, he had 82 receptions, he had over 1,000 yards, and he had 10 touchdowns. That's when we knew, okay, we got something special. Now, the reason I put Stevie Johnson on this list is because he made it cool again to be a Bills fan, right? Because nobody really cared to be there. It was like a stopgap. I'm going to Buffalo just to do a couple years, and I'm out of here. Stevie actually cared to be on this roster. He cared for the community, and he still cares to this day. And I love this man. I love him to this day. When he left, it broke my heart. I really wanted him. It would have been nice to have him and Stevie and Sammy Watkins together on one team, and Robert Woods, and it would have been dope. But nonetheless, here we are. Stevie Johnson is my number 2 on the list. And let's not forget, he was the guy to flood Revis Island, right? His irky jerk, basketball crossover, route running was what made him special. And Revis felt every bit of it. So my number 2 player on this list is Stevie Johnson. We have made it down to the number 1 person on this list. I think you guys might have an idea who it is, and this person is still a member of the community. Loves Buffalo. Buffalo loves him back. This is running back Fred Jackson. I personally met Fred Jackson. He is a quality individual, and this person, man, a journey. He went through a journey, man. NFL Europe, undrafted at a college, you're saying, and he worked his way up the toughest way possible. Just grind it out. When you outlast CJ Spiller, you outlast Willis McGahee, you outlast Marshawn Lynch, you know you're a real one. You're a real one. And with Fred Jackson on this team, 8 years with the Bills, no Pro Bowls, 56 career 100 yards, 30 touchdowns, 322 receptions, 2,600 yards receiving, and 7 receiving touchdowns. His best year came in 2013, in my opinion, where he had 890 yards but had 9 touchdowns, 46 receptions, and 387 yards receiving, and 1 receiving touchdown. He's had years where he had more rushing yards, but that year was memorable to me. I remember him just killing the game, and I was like, "Who? This Fred Jackson is a special cat." So Fred Jackson rounds out my list of the top 10 Bills drought team. I guess I can call it the drought team. And these are my top 10 players. How do you guys feel about that? I know I'm missing some people. I know I am. And I'm going to tell you who my honorable mentions are. Nate Clements, 6 years with the Bills, 6 interceptions in 2004, Pro Bowl year, right? Nate Clements should be on the list. But I struggled with it. Takeo Spikes, Antoine Winfield. How could we forget about Antoine Winfield, right? I didn't. I just couldn't put him on the list, right? Jason Peters, 2-time Pro Bowler with the Bills. I almost had him on the list, but I chose to go with Eric Wood instead. Eric Wood had a longer tenure with us, so I figured Eric Wood would be the better person to put on this list. Willis McGahee. I could have put Willis McGahee on this list. Not enough years on the team, but he had a monster year with us, right? Travis Henry. Travis Henry had a huge 2002 year. Pro Bowl year, all-purpose yards, 1,700 yards, man. Listen, We had some talent on this team, but we just could never put it together. It's a shame. If we had an owner at the time that didn't want to hold on to the money and just let us spend and get the players that we needed to make happen, maybe, just maybe, we could have made something happen. But here we are. So, ladies and gentlemen, how do you feel about this list? Are you on board? Did I miss someone? Are you feeling like, I could have swapped this person, I could have put this person? Actually, let me know your list down below. Your top 10 drought players of the Bills team from 2000 to 2017, right? Let me know. So if you appreciate this video, do me a favor, smash that like button. If you are new to this page and you have no idea who we are the Buffalo Fanatics. I am your boy Rico. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, and I'm gone.